A warm welcome to all our panelists and delegates who have joined us for the fourth Packaging Live webinar, the most exciting and content-driven webinar of the industry. Our theme today is Labels, Connecting Consumer Aspirations. Hi, my name is Prateek Kaushik. I am the Portfolio Director at Reed Exhibitions India, organizers for today's webinar and Packplus Exhibition, India's leading exhibition serving the food, confectionery and FMCG sector for the last 15 years. We'd like to thank our webinar partners today, HP, digital print technology leaders in India and around the world, the CAP Group, our InMold label experts for supporting this industry initiative. Our delegates are joining, and while they join, I'd like to share some housekeeping rules. I'll request all speakers to keep their videos on and mics on mute. Our delegates are requested to share any questions today with the panelists in the Q&A box and not the chat box. We'll also be having 3 polls during the session. Our request is that the speakers and the delegates may take these polls as they come. It'll give us a sense of the pulse of the audience regarding the webinar today. We have leading experts from the industry, and before we introduce them, it's my pleasure to introduce our moderator for the day, Mr. Sushant Rabra. Sushant is a partner with the KPMG Management Consulting Practice firm, leading the firm's agenda on digital consulting services. He's passionate about evolving business models and innovations in the e-commerce, internet economy, consumer, pharma, and related areas over the last 15 years that he has been with the KPMG firm. Hi, Sushant. Let's get this Friday Power Packed label debate underway. Over to you, Sushant.
Thank you so much, Prateek, and thank you for setting this up. And while I start, I must say that it's not every day that you share stage with industry stalwarts that we have today with us, and it is my privilege to be on this panel today. So without further ado, let me quickly introduce my fellow panelists over here today. I'll start with Mr. Gagandeep. He is the head packaging development at the Himalaya Drug Company. He's responsible for driving global packaging development strategy for the company based out of Bangalore. And prior to this, he was driving the global packaging feedstock strategy and tea packaging portfolio for Unilever based out of Singapore and Dubai. Welcome, Mr. Gagandeep, to the panel. We have Mr. Amit Saukar, Head Packaging Development for MTR Foods Limited. Amit is a packaging professional and alumnus of Indian Institute of Packaging. Amit heads packaging development in MTR Foods, and in his current role, he handles packaging innovation, packaging mold development, project management, packaging process design, supply chain improvement, value engineering, and sustainability. That's a very wide portfolio. Welcome, Amit, on the panel today. Glad to be on this panel with you. Then we have Mr. Jikul Purohit. He's a senior manager packaging, sustainability, Asia and ANZ for Hindustan Unilever. Jikul is a seasoned packaging professional having 16 years of experience across local and global packaging design and development roles at Unilever. And he has also been awarded a prestigious World Star Award for Blue Aroma Lock and various Asia Star, India Star, and Pack Machine Awards. Welcome, Jikul, to the panel. Glad to be on the panel with you. We have Ms. Ritika Parashar, packaging lead for Procter & Gamble Health. Ritika is a tenured professional with 16 years of comprehensive experience, which includes managing the entire portfolio of packaging functions in diverse industries such as pharma, FMCG, cosmetics, liquid, and animal health. Welcome, Ritika, to the panel today. We have Mr. Ranesh Bajaj, Director, Winsack India. Ranesh is a renowned name in packaging and printing industry. He's a specialist and a consultant with 28 years experience in bringing and introducing new, innovative, and effective technology to the region. Welcome, Ranesh. We have Mr. Puneet Duggal. He's the director of CAP Group. Puneet is a young leader manning the new generation with fresh ideas. His mission is to carry the customer focus while leading CAP to bigger heights. Welcome on board, Puneet. We have Mr. Umesh. He's the business manager for HP Indigo Digital Press, HP India. Umesh has a decade of experience in printing and packaging industry. He has been working closely with brands and packaging converters to enhance the customer experience using digital printing. Thank you so much, Umesh, for joining us today. And last but not the least, we have Denver, who's director with Janus International. Denver is a second generation entrepreneur with 2 decades of experience in packaging industry. Janus' foray into digital printing was spearheaded by him 11 years ago, and his was the first company in India to invest in industrial digital press. As you can see, everyone, we have a fairly power-packed panel today, and I must thank the organizers for getting all of us together. We have a fair degree of representation from the brand owners, as well as from the technology partners and the ecosystem. I'm looking forward to conversation with all of you on these topics. So just to get the ball rolling, when the first this conversation came up about setting up a webinar on this topic, and we were doing some discussion around what is the need of actually getting this on a webinar and out to all of you. And when we look closely, I think it cannot be more obvious. Globally, the packaging industry generates almost 900 billion of revenue a year. And it has been an industry which has been growing very rapidly and has seen multiple rounds of innovation in the last few years. But the way we stand today, there are challenges and changes happening in the industry, particularly from a customer channel perspective, customer safety and hygiene, especially in the era of COVID, challenges around volatile raw material prices, single-use packaging issues, and disruption in supply chains and in many of the end markets. So keeping that in context, I think it is very opportune that we are able to get everybody together and focus on what are the innovations and disruptions that we see in the industry and learn from all the experts that we have with us today on what is their point of view on the way industry is evolving and what are the key trends to watch out for. Without spending too much time on setting the context, I will straight away jump into the conversation. And I would first like to start with the person who pays for all of it, which is the consumer, right? It is the consumer which is at the center of the way packaging and label design is being done right now. And the changes in customer preferences are shaping the way labels and packaging is evolving in the last few years. So let's hear from Ritika in her perspective. What are the shifts that she's seeing from a consumer perspective and what does it mean for the industry? Over to you, Ritika.
Well, good morning, everyone. So guys, this pandemic is no more a health crisis. So basically, it has become a financial crisis and moreover, it has converted into humanitarian crisis. So we as a professional, as an individual need to, step ourselves up and need to act accordingly. So today, I am going to express my thoughts in terms of how this COVID is going to impact on our industry and how we have to respond on the same. So firstly, I want to share, there is one saying which is very, very inspiring and very close to my heart that, if there is a storm, so you can choose either to be a windmill or you can, hide under a bunker. So my whole conversation is going to revolve around this dialogue that how to create opportunities from a crisis situation. So here, I would like to give you two examples. Like, I think, all of you must have heard about this Bajaj consumer care business. So like, they have two lines of, two vertical of business. In one vertical, they manufacture sugar and the byproduct of which is your molasses and alcohol. And the second line, like, they produce this hair oils and stuff like that. So during this COVID line, like, their this hair oil line was underutilized. So what they did is like, they took this alcohol, which is the byproduct, and like, they added some fragrances, they add other stuff like that, like, and you converted into it sanitizer. And since like, their bottle point was like vacant, so like, they transferred this alcohol to their bottle point and like, labeled it nicely, and they launched its brand as Nomark. And like, look guys, like how they have created this opportunity. And second example, like, which is purely consumer insight driven, is of like, Amul launching this Panchamrit. So we like, India is a land of religious people, so we all like to go to temples and having prasad and stuff. So during this time, like, the hygiene has really become a concern. So like, people were apprehensive in going to temple and having that prasad. So Amul, tapped it as an opportunity, and they launched this Panchamrit, which like, is distributed nicely and hygienically packed. So like, guys, this were two examples which I really wanted to give. And now, my second aspect is like, I think, we all are very active users of this Swiggy and Zomatos and all the food applications. So like, now consumers, this decision making is slowly shifting from value-led decision making to your trust-led decision making. Now consumer want to, buy the stuff only from the brand in which like, he has a trust, where he knows all the safety guidelines are being met, all it is hygienically packed. So here also, I would like to give you example of Burger King, like, for their delivery business, they revamped their packaging, like, they launched a very nice sealed bag where like, they have started giving the small sanitizer for free, and like, a personalized that kind of a thing to every consumer that we care. So like, this kind of confidence we need to reinstill in the customer so that they know that you care. And second such example is of Modern Bread, where they are claiming that like, they are using this immuno booster ingredients in their like, active ingredients, and this is being like, vocal through their graphics and their labeling. And like, they are also like, giving away the hygienic mask along with that. So like, this kind of approach is giving extra like, confidence to the consumer to buy. So this is the shift in the behavior. And the third and the last point which I want to put across is the changing consumer behavior from the offline to online shelf. So like, earlier we had a liberty to, go to the market, go to the hyper malls and like, pick up stuff ourselves. And like, the decision making, which used to be, earlier the very vibrant graphics, colors and this, that is not going to be of much importance these days. Now we being as professional, I think we need to focus more on the functional aspect, as like, our packaging will go through extra leg of these, Amazons and big baskets and Flipkarts. So last bit which is coming to my mind is out of my personal experience, like, these days, like, we all are paranoid that whatever like we get in our place, so like, we have a tendency to wash it off or like, sanitize it. So like, a few days back, I had ordered for one medicine, and like, I ended up sanitizing it, like, and all the batch coding details of that strip was gone. And similarly, I think, even consumers have a tendency that whatever even food they are getting, like, perishable food or packaged, so they are sanitizing it. So being a packaging a professional, so like, if this kind of like, situation is going to continue, then like, we have to think over it, like, how to handle this kind of a situation and these challenges. So like, I'm ending my this topic by telling, like, as a brand owners, we have to do these three things, like, first come the, like, create opportunities, and the second one is reinstill the confidence, and third, the changing behavior of the consumer. So that's from my side.
Thank you, Ritika. I would say that was very well articulated,
Thank
and
you.
and the examples you gave are very relevant, and they are hitting close home, especially in the current times. And you are absolutely right. I mean, we could be a windmill or we could hide under the bunkers. And if we have to be a windmill, if we have to take advantage of the storm, then we have to think differently. Now, I can understand the way the entire customer dynamics are changing, and they are expecting things which are very different from the packaging industry as compared to what it was earlier. And this industry also has been innovating. It's been experimenting with new technologies, digitization, and embedded information and so on. Maybe I'll request thoughts now from Gagandeep as to what are these emerging technologies going to do for packaging industry, and what is the kind of value that you see in the future?
Thank you, Sushant. So basically, good morning to everybody. I think to just carry forward the thought that Ritika had shared. I think the big thing that we have to all be aware of, that in these changing times, one of the biggest assets for a company is to be able to ensure that we have the right level of trust that we build with the consumers. And I think the biggest challenge for us as a packaging professional is to be able to see how we are able to build that trust, because a lot of confidence has been shaken. There's a lot of uncertainty in the environment, and the consumer wants to be very sure of what they are wanting to buy. And they want to be very clear in terms of what they expect from a product. So packaging becomes the first real interaction that the consumer has with the product. And your ability to translate the product attributes and translate the brand values through the packaging becomes a very key objective for any consumer product company. So what is required is really to make sure that we are able to communicate very clearly the brand proposition, the benefits that the brand brings to the consumer, and also be able to really communicate bigger purpose that the brand stands for. Whether it's the sustainability credentials that the brand is pursuing, or it is about the brand values that they really believe in, or it is about the bigger, larger purpose that they are wanting to serve. So I think what the packaging industry, the challenge for the packaging professionals is to see how we are able to bring in these elements into the packaging design, so that we have a very strong emotional connect with the consumer, and we are able to really bring that element very strongly in the pack itself, because that is the first point of interaction. Now, there are a couple of emerging technologies in this area where I see that the brands are actually going out of the way to have a much stronger communication with the consumers, or a much stronger interaction with the consumer. And one of those areas which is emerging very fast is the augmented reality. Because as Ritika mentioned, there is a lot of buying that is happening online. When you receive the stuff, you want to get a little more information about the product itself, the process through which it has gone, the overall supply chain it has gone through, what are the major attributes of the product. So many of the companies are now incorporating these features through a specific element in the label, where an app can be downloaded, and then you can get an information about the product, about its attributes, about various aspects that you feel are critical for the use of the product. And that is what is augmented reality. It is being exploited by many brands to basically improve the overall communication with the consumer, because the consumer wants to know much more than what a label can actually communicate. And that's something which many brands are now exploiting to build their salience and build that kind of a consumer connect. What is also very relevant, and which is becoming quite popular these days, is with the evolving trend on digital printing. you have the ability to even customize your labels. So you are able to, you know, make labels which are specific to a consumer. Yeah. And you can then build a very strong brand loyalty by, you know, showing that you actually care for the consumer. You are really bothered about, you know, the consumer, and you are going at a personalized level in terms of your communication. So I think the overall idea behind all this is that you need to bring that brand salience, and also need to communicate much more strongly the purpose of the brand and how it is really helping in, you know, taking care of your needs in these challenging times, and you know, also to bring that authenticity into the brand itself. So I think there are these emerging technologies which are going to play a very big role in, you know, developing a much stronger emotional connect with the consumers. So that's all that I need to say. I wanted to say in terms of, you know, what I feel are going to be the key trends moving forward.
Thank you, Gagan. And thanks for sharing that context, because you're absolutely right. The customer of today is not just looking at packaging in the way it was traditionally seen, saying basic information, you know, so you're basically, you know, packaging the product, it has to be durable and all of that. The customer wants more information. The power equation between the brands and the customer, which earlier used to be one way, right? It's now shifting. So customer wants to be equally aware when he's making a decision, right? And to that extent, the emerging technologies that you mentioned around augmented reality, customer specific information, they go a long way to demonstrate the value of the product to the customer and make him or her make a better decision. So I think that's absolutely spot on in terms of trends. Now, bringing back to the topic, which, you know, I think is on everybody's mind these days, we are all in a COVID situation, and specifically because of that, there are products which earlier were sold differently, and their packaging, their structuring is changing. Customers are looking for much more assurance, as Ritika was mentioning, in terms of trust, in terms of the packaging being correct, the packaging able to protect the content, the packaging being hygienic, untouched, you know, all of that sort of themes. Especially in a business which is core to us, is like sort of the food business and allied areas, these challenges become even more paramount as compared to a standard FMCG or other care products. So I think probably now I'd like to request thoughts from Amit. How do you see these challenges from a COVID perspective? Are they challenges, or are they also you know, opportunity disguised as challenges? What has been your experience?
Thanks, Sushant. Good morning to all of you, and distinguished panel members and brand owners and converting industry members in the panel, and all my dear packaging fraternity. I would like to take this opportunity to thank organizing team to given this opportunity to share my views. Kindly note all these views expressed here are my personal views. As you said, the challenges, definitely the challenges, you should take the challenges as an opportunity, and you build on that and come out as a winner. So if you see being as a COVID situation, and if you see a packaging is act like a first moment of truth, FMOT. And in normal traditional trades or the modern trades, consumer is having a lot of liberty to handle the product, have a physical experience. But during this time of pandemic, this experience is diminishing, experiencing the product experience. Then while shopping on online platform, a lot of general routine trades like a modern trade, when you go to supermarkets and all, we end up with excessive buying, unplanned buying. But on online platforms, there is a we go as a focused purchase for certain products. So consumers are not going out of home due to safety reasons, hence consumer spending power is depleting during this scenario. And while online purchases, additional selling points like traditional sales are got again diminished. So as well as shifting in procurement style as well as ordering style has a dramatic change during this time. So as a brand owners, we should accept that fact that spending behavior of the consumer is changed a lot during this time. So if you see during this time as we going through as well as down the line next 1 year. So during this ongoing lockdown, the consumer focus was on various aspects of health and hygiene with intent on avoiding the pandemic. Then shift towards low touch shopping. Then now next few months, like next 6 to 9 months, there will be constrained living conditions we could see in the environment. So that will catch upon the increased online shopping with bulk purchases of staples and reduce store visits. Then lower availability of stock due to high demand variability and strained supply chains. So, and if you see in the long run, if you around 12 months later, there is a significant altered in the lifestyle in the Indian consumer context per se. So there will be a permanent change in consumer behavior, heightened awareness about health, immunity, hygiene and sanitation, and primarily the buying will be through commerce will may take a center stage. So I just would like to give some facts what is happening right now during this pandemic as well as down the line. So India is one of the fastest growing economy today, and half of the population is below age 25, and quarter of the entire population is below 14 years of age. And as per McKinsey, India is one of the largest and fastest growing market for digital consumers with 560 million internet subscribers in 2018, second only in to China. And India will be see internet users rises by 40% and number of smartphone to double by 2023. And packaging is the 5th largest sector in Indian economy and is one of the highest growing. So if you see as a packaging industry per se, it is going at a pace of around 10 to 12%. And as per global consulting firm EY, packaging industry is expected to witness an outstanding growth during 2016 to 2021. And it's expected to reach 72 billion by 2020 financial year. So as well as there is a good news from the agri sector also that a good Rabi crop season and is expecting to be 6% higher compared to last year, and prediction of normal monsoon and lot of launching of government schemes to support rural India through direct cash transfer. So that will help consumers to spend more to make the formalize the economy and bring the momentum in the economy. So brand owners perspective, if you see the opportunities, specifically if you see product labeling point of view, specifically on online platforms, high resolution of resolution images to promote about the product, packaging sizes, important details on the nutritional, it will take a center stage because consumer wants to know more about the product, about the benefits. So additionally, the communications on the packs like scan me or scan me for more offers, yeah, and also to add attract the consumers measures like QR codes as well as QR code. There will be a window will pop up and it will give link to that particular brand website. So this how the product labeling brand owners, I feel they should work in terms of the quality of images, then how to improve the consumers' spending power and how to push volume growth. So on online platforms, brand owners may work on the exploitation of consumer offers on online platform, promotional offers with attractive pricing and price discounts could be thought to drive volume growth. And element of packaging I need to aware to help to drive more consumer repurchase and engagement. As I rightly said, Gagandeep sir, on the artificial intelligence, then the virtual reality, augmented reality, as well as smart labels, indicator labels that will give additional features as well as consumer engagement to the pack, as well as digitization will be a take center stage, and it will be an opportunity for all brand owners because it will go a paperless transaction, and it will be a key enabler and take precedence to bring efficiencies across the supply chain. So brand will compete with brands in the new scenario because consumers are looking for particular product specific things on the online platform. So what value brands will be going to offer and what kind of consumers experience brand going to offer, it's really going to matter in the coming days. So label quality and product quality also speaks about itself, and so brand owners shall work towards it. And also this is a time where all of us basically learn, unlearn and relearn things. Whatever we follow as a conventional processes, ways of working, we have to modify, adapt to the new way of working so that we'll keep pace with the changing environment. So as rightly said, Gagandeep sir as well as Ritika, on the personalization will take a center stage as well as help to add brand loyalty, and definitely the millennials, basically those are also called as loner living consumers. They want a lot of convenience in whatever they do. Specifically packaging also, they need on-the-go convenience, easy to use, easy to open, easy to close, those all kind of features.
Correct.
So there is also many brands owners are shifting as well as planning to tie up with QSR segments, as well as pizza chains to deliver their products. This actually helping the brands to penetrate and trying the product trials. And these challenges, this challenging environment is helping to try out different things on the brand owner per se. And definitely all these different opportunities what I spell out, as well as there are many ways to look upon the challenges, opportunities.
Thank you, Amit. I think this is really well summarized, and I would say you covered from the context to the action that brand owners can take, and that is very well summarized in that sense. Now, moving forward, I wanted to also take a view saying we have all been talking about the consumer, about the technologies, about the scenarios around us. But if you were to go down to the root of it, saying what does it mean for holistic label design? What does it mean for label life cycle? If you were to get slightly deeper into that core area and request Jikul your thoughts on that topic. Jikul?
Jikul, yes. If you can unmute.
Hi. So good morning. Yeah.
Good
morning, everyone. And good morning, everyone. Thanks, Sushant, for creating the context. And all my fellow speaker, already spoke about, I think, need of the consumer, some of the latest development, and what is expected out in this COVID time. And you know, at Unilever, we are in the center of you know, manufacturing the essentials which are, you know, today required for consumers. Yeah. At the same time, I think we have a big responsibility not only to give them a good product, but also give them the right product, which are kind of, you know, designed for keeping the future in mind. And I think no other time than COVID situation for all of us, you know, to realize that sustainability and circularity is probably, you know, playing a big major role in whatever we do. Yeah. And if we play with nature too much, then what we end up with is this kind of a crisis scenario. Yeah. At Unilever, we, you know, our key purpose is to make sustainability a commonplace. And in this space, you know, we are trying to do multiple initiatives. And you, some of you might be thinking, saying that, you know, okay, how is it linked with yeah. And the label is a small area in the gamut, but the image not on the consumer, but also on the end is ends. Yeah. And that is where I think today I want to discuss, saying that, you know, for label, a thought which I want to give today is that you know, the labels and the decoration, we not only have to think about what will happen till the time consumer is using it, but what will happen once consumer is trying to throw this. So we need to really consider end to end, and we need to probably, you know, choose the right materials. We need to think about how it is going to behave in the recycling chain. We need to really think about you know, what are the content and what are the materials which are going to use. And then we need to design it thinking end to end as a perspective. Just to kind of, you know, give you, and when I kind of, you know, try to design a label, I kind of, you know, use 4R as my mantra. The first R is, you know, around reduce the material. So nowadays, you know, down gauging or making it thinner, or, you know, you have label and you have a face or a feed face stock. So, you know, you can actually go for, or you can choose the right material which is, you know, lower and lower in terms of thickness. The second key aspect, or a second R, is how do you improve the recyclability. Yeah. So this label, how does this label behave in the recycling stream? You know, does this label go and contaminate the recycling stream? So just to give you an example, there are, you know, fantastic design guidelines by American Packaging Association, or, you know, Association for Packaging Recycler, called as APR, and PRE, which is, you know, predominantly in Europe. And I would urge some of you to probably, you know, go through the some of those design guidelines, which very clearly articulate, saying that, you know, how to choose a substrate, how to choose a process, and what is detrimental to recycling versus what is good, or what is, you know, acceptable for recycling. And so that's where, you know, the second R is around improve the recyclability. Yeah. First, wherever PVC is today used is more or less getting replaced with PET. And you know, some of the very good initiative also which are happening in the industry at a multiple level. So just to give you an example, you know, Unilever as well as Himalaya, we have tied up with you know, what we use as a liners. The glassine paper liners are actually given back to the supplier, and he recycle it, and that's where, you know, it is fully circular. We are not leaving any trace onto the waste footprint, or, you know, it's not going into the landfill. Yeah. The third R is saying that increase the recycled content. Yeah. So wherever possible in the label chain, how do we work towards increasing the recycled content? And how do we bring in this whole concept of rebirth into packaging? Yeah. So PET bottles, which are collected, can be made into a recycled PET films, which can be used as a liner for a label. And many of the companies like Rafla and Every provide us with some of those opportunity. And fourth R is always ask for responsibly sourced material. Yeah. So we use a lot of paper, we use a lot of liners which uses paper and a fiber, and if it is sustainably sourced and if it is responsibly sourced, then it kind of completes the whole loop. So my 4R and request, while we kind of try to increase the recyclable, use the recycled content back into your label or sleeves, and make sure that it is responsibly sourced. So I think in COVID time, I think we definitely need to look at the consumer and need of a consumer, but at the same time, I think it is our responsibility as an industry and as a packaging fraternity to kind of look at also owning the responsibility of circularity, owning the responsibility of making sustainability a commonplace. Thank you, Sushant. Back to you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, Dikal. I think this 4R framework is a very handy reference for us to look at when we are designing our packaging and labeling strategies. And this is very well articulated. Recyclability, recycled content, responsibly sourced, all are very important points when we are designing this plan. And in today's world, when people are saying humans are overexploiting the earth, that's something that definitely needs to be kept in mind. Now, so far, we have been hearing thoughts from our esteemed panelists. Now it is a chance for audience to take part as well. So I will request Shantanu to bring up a poll on screen. This is an online poll, and all of you who are listening in can answer to that. And we will be keen to hear what do you think on some of these topics. So the first question that you see here is, do you see brands moving towards augmented reality traceability while planning product labels for greater consumer engagement and meeting the customer expectations? So do you see that trend actually happening? What is your view? Let's hear from the from our participants. All right. Absolutely. I think the participants agree to the point being made earlier here by the panel, which Gagan started out, and many others also agreed that this is definitely a trend that we're looking for. All right. So I think in interest of time, what we will do is we will sort of move to the supply side. So so far we have heard from the brand owners, CPG companies, what is that they are looking for, and they are essentially putting the demand on the table, saying, "This is what I want. I want responsibly sourced. I want labels which can be used for augmented reality. I want labels. I want packaging which can be leveraged in multiple other facets as well." So we heard all of that. I think it will be good to hear from the supply side, saying what are the technology partners and ecosystem players thinking about the technological innovations and feasibility in this space. So I will start with Umesh, and I'll request his thoughts on digital printing and what is that doing to the supply equation. Over to you, Umesh.
Thanks, Sushant, and good afternoon to all the fellow panelists and to the audience. I mean, my brand owner friends here just spoke about many trends, but majorly you can classify them into two parts. One is about the brand engagement that they are talking about, and second is about sustainability. So I'll also like to address or talk about what, as a technology provider, as an HP, what we are doing to address this part. So first, I'd like to talk about the consumer engagement. If you can, Sushant, if someone can project the slide about the KitKat case study. So situation today is like everyone is locked at home no one is able to go out. This has been done, going on for last 4-5 months, and probably it may continue, unfortunately, for some more time. We all are missing, the good occasions like birthdays, celebrating birthdays of our loved ones, going for the anniversaries, and even very emotional festivals like Rakhi, where probably brothers would not be able to go to their sisters' home probably for first time in their life. So these kind of situations are really it's beyond pandemic. It's like it's on a human emotional level. So what are we helping it out? Of course, we cannot be personally present, but imagine, as I presented a case study, imagine if we could uh, print a picture of the birthday girl, or a brother can send a picture of their old memories where brothers and sisters were together, on a pack of a beautifully printed pack of a chocolate or mithais or sweets. So this could be the next best thing of being there in person. Of course, you cannot do that, but at least the pack of chocolate can go there with a personalized picture, and of course, a message can also be there about the Rakhi or Diwali, or so there are so many festivals which are in the line from now, and if this opportunity is missed by the brand owners, of course, this is a big loss for them in the business. So a challenge can be converted easily into an opportunity. All this while, I know many of the brand owners have been trying to take the e-commerce route, take the personalization route, but sometimes it's our habit. People are not used to, or were not used to, ordering chocolates online, right? So probably most of us would have not ordered, but today it's a very common thing to order each and everything online. We are, ordering almost everything online. So if someone can go on an online website, he can also post a picture and a personalized message. That's it. Rest is done by the technology. The buyer doesn't have to do much, and what he receives at the end after a few days is a beautiful pack of chocolate or sweets with a personalized picture. And just imagine the smile that it will bring onto that consumer. So this is also a certain level where people are depressed, and seeing their own picture with a very big brand and a very beautiful chocolate, I'm sure it is going to bring some smile and some cheers to their face. So this also means a lot of things for a brand. One, that they get a huge traffic on their website, where they can take all the data. Gather all the data. It can be used for the further analytics. They know where their consumer are, who their consumer are. Most importantly, to a pinpointed level. And they can plan their next projects also, future projects also accordingly. For consumer, there is also a hidden benefit, which is they get a real product. It cannot be a fake product. It cannot be a pirated product, because it is coming directly from the brand himself. So a dual objectives are served. One is the brand, consumer engagement. Second is also about avoiding the counterfeits and all. So I think from a consumer engaged perspective, this personalization can really take off. As I said, it is more than just sending a picture. It is bringing smile onto, or some cheer onto the face of the consumer. They will not throw this chocolate pack. Believe me, they will keep it for a long time as an a souvenir, as an album. So this is one point. And secondly, I also want to talk about what my friend Jikul just spoke about, the sustainability, because this is a huge thing today, though it has taken a little bit backseat from the pandemic. But I'm sure people are still. Now people are more aware what can happen if we play with the nature. So I'm sure it is going to come back very soon. So talking about sustainability, digital printing can play a huge role. If you can present the slide, the first slide on the sustainability part. Sushant, if you can ask someone to present. So what is happening is Jikul just spoke about, reduced use of plastics and all. Um, I mean, yes, reducing the weight and all is the biggest parameter. But just imagine if you are not printing what is not really required. Most of the time, what happens is a brand is forced to print, few tons, because that's how the conventional industry works. They have to print a certain MOQ. That's a concept without which the order will not be accepted, kind of. So they use, few kgs or whatever is required out of it, and some part of it is kind of wasted or thrown in the, or put it for recycling, even if it is given to a very responsible recycling, but still it is going to take a lot of energy to do the recycling. So what we are saying is, to reduce before even, I mean, if you have to, I mean, in digital printing, you can only print what is really required. You don't have to, really go through. So here we have one of our, basically this is an independent study. So I like to, just talk about in a minute. It's an independent study done by an agency where they compared conventional like flexogravure technologies with the digital one for printing a certain amount of, let's say a coffee pouch in this case, and they compile what could be the environmental impact on different 4 parameters. So these are the 4 parameters which are basically global warming thing. So one was global warming potential, second was the ozone that could be generated, third was the energy that is kind of consumed, and the water depletion. So these are kind of 4 parameters. You go anywhere, this will be very important parameters for a brand. And on all the parameters, digital will be something which will have a lowest impact on the environment. So this is something which I want to speak. Though yes, digital will be in certain degree a little bit expensive, but if you have to go a sustainable way, we really have to think, what is more expensive, the additional cost or the damage to the environment. So this decision will have to be, taken by the brand. This is how I would like to summarize on these 2 topics. Over to you, Sushant.
Perfect. Thank you. Thanks, Dan, for sharing your thoughts on that. I think that's very relevant, and I think that case study around saying packaging or wrappers are not something to be thrown away, but if you add enough value, they'll be kept as a souvenir. That's very interesting to hear, actually. And I saw there were some questions around that also in the Q&A section, which we will take just after this session. Now, I want to take thoughts from Ranesh on what does it mean from a print finishing perspective, right? So if we have a view around that, that will probably complete the story, which as Umesh started off. So if you can request your thoughts on that, that will be really great. Thank you.
Thanks, Sushant. And I just wanted to pick up from where Ritika started at the beginning of the seminar. One very key point she made was, today trust has come over value. For a consumer, trust is ahead of value, authenticity. So looking at both the things, it's very important that we create packaging which can prove the authenticity of the provenance of the product along the whole supply chain, and also which can then offer us a solution which allows us to maybe engage with the consumer at a later level. All that is becoming key. It's becoming a key part of the packaging, right? And the second part we also see is, now as we move away from store shelves to the e-commerce sites, that functionality is gaining ground over aesthetics, right? So as we focus on functionality, that's where label finishing comes on. More and more, you need people to be, we all have to design packaging which is functionally effective, which is functionally sustainable, and how can we actually use it to the best extent that to carry the product to the consumer in the best possible way. That's the idea of the functionality that we should continue to focus on. And of course, in the beginning, we were having this discussion about sustainability moving to the back seat or whether it's in the front seat. Trust me, sustainability is going to be there for many generations to come, and we all have to focus on it. And we have to, the point that I personally feel, and I make it multiple forums across the world, is our responsibility as people from the packaging industry is that we create packaging which which can be recycled. But let us not take away the responsibility of as well as perhaps incentivize the consumer. You know, the other day I was attending an Ellen MacArthur Foundation seminar, and the person there clearly said is that the hand which consumes the product should also be the hand which disposes of the packaging. We as a solution, we have to make it sustainable, you know, easy to reprocess or easy to recycle. But the fact that the consumer should take the wrapper of the chocolate to the right point of recyclability is what needs to be made aware to the consumer as well. You know, I cannot be a gutka eater and then throwing my gutka pouch on the street. Whatever much the government makes the rules, whatever much we guys make it more efficient, somehow we must get to the consumer and get to his or her mind to say, in which case, one, after functionality, we need to create an incentive process. Give me something to bring my milk bottle back to the point of creation. Give me 1 paisa back for throwing the pouch in the right district or recycling panel. This is what we all need to get together and make. So that's what a personal view from me. We at Winsack have been helping all conventional and digital printers at all times to finish the label. You know, like you say, you can print the label as well as you want, but you know, for people who know that we installed the first booklet machine in a small town called Sivakasi 8 years ago, you know, where before to move out of customers moving away from using a mono carton, which is a huge incentive on saving price, sustainability, trying to get the booklet integrated with the label. The first equipment was installed more than 8 years ago and it runs well. And Ritika, just to take on, I was very impressed with the point that, you know, we all of need to look at the point of wiping a piece of medicine with alcohol or with a sanitizer, which is taken with the batch coding. This is going to be a major issue. And I think this should come into regulation very soon, that the batch coding cannot be removable because that's going to be an issue. Yeah. That's all. Thank you, Sushant.
Thank you. Thank you. And thanks for bringing that perspective through and adding to it. I'll now probably take thoughts from Denver. You know, how does all these innovations which have been hearing about, how does that impact time to market, and what has been your experience on the same?
Thank you, Sushant. With respect to all the panelists that have spoken earlier, especially the brand managers, yes, this has been a beautiful time, I would say, challenging time, at the same time beautiful time, because we had to think on our feet, we had to use speed to pivot, you know, just as Ritika mentioned that, you know, consumers, I mean, producers who had alcohol somewhere in the system or spirit started manufacturing sanitizers. Similarly, a lot of other producers got into health products, any products that would boost immunity. Now, in such a scenario, you need equipment to help you to pivot, and you need to pivot fast. You need to pivot with 1/10 of the people that you have, okay, and you need to also deliver on time. So again, you need to have the technology, both in terms of systems as well as print technology, that can deliver that. I had a very interesting case because plants were shut for such a long time. A lot of their batch coding equipment had also got jammed up, and they were not able to get engineers to service it. So suddenly they wanted us to print the batch number and the manufacturing date also on the label. So immediately you need to have a technology that can instantly take care of such a situation. Again, with people's incomes coming down, you have lesser amount of items required, lesser amount of demand, but at the same time, customers want a lot of choice. So again, you need a technology to take care of that. Where you spoil a customer for choice, give them probably 10 variants, 20 variants, but give it to them when they want it, how they want it. Again, when you're developing so many variants, you need to have a quick development cycle that doesn't cost too much. You can make your mock-ups, you can make your 1-piece, 2-piece, do your market research quickly, as well as get the feedback from the market quickly as to see what will work. Again, you need a technology to cover that. In terms of touch points today, since we again are working with very less employees, and the lesser people that touch your product, you want to be safe, you want to be sure. When you look at digital and I compare it to my conventional technology, for a conventional plant, if I had to do this, I would need about 15 people to make plates, inks, tapes, transport all this to the plant, setup times, mounting all this. In digital, we just manage this with 4 or 5 people during the shutdown, the entire process. So, all these things are pointing out that, a technology that would help you pivot, help you reduce the touch points on the product, and get to market very, very quickly. In addition to all this, you have what everyone spoke about: creating consumer experience, the flexibility, engagement, sustainability. This all comes by default. So it's just part of the process. You get it, I would say, free of cost. It's part of the process.
Thank you so much, Denver. And I would say that speed to market, that flexibility that digital solutions allow you, the importance of that cannot be underscored, especially in a time like this where you have to rapidly take decisions and respond the way market is responding. And unless you do that, you might be too slow, and then you might be outwitted in the market.
True.
And now, sort of to weave all of this together from the ecosystem perspective, I can request Puneet to come in and talk about his thoughts on sustainability, customer experience, product reusability. I think that's the other theme that possibly we would like to hear a little bit more thoughts on. So may I request Puneet to come in and share his thoughts. How does he see this evolving over the next few years, and what are these key trends that we should keep in mind?
Hi, Sushant. So first of all, I would like to thank Sushant and Creed and all the brand owners to give us a privilege to be on this platform. So Sushant, as you said that, yes, there have been a lot of, different consumer behavior and reusability perspectives which has come out, especially after the post-COVID. So in packaging, yes, we divide things into a pre-COVID and a post-COVID packaging. There has been a lot of increase in the demand of packaging as well now. Why? Because anything a customer wants, they want everything to be, temper evident, whether it is a paper packaging, whether it is a flexible packaging, whether it is a plastic packaging. Everything has to be temper evident, which gives a trust to the customer that he is getting is packed from the factory, not being tempered in between. Either it is getting delivered directly from the kitchen, or it is being delivered from an online platform or something like this. So I believe the demand of packaging has really increased and has gone high. Now the only thing we have to see that how, as Mr. Denner was telling that, we have to see that how we can produce with the lowest possible people. So in our technology, yes, we use a lot of less number of manpowers, everything it does in automation, and all the in-mold label containers are produced by 100% robotics with no human touch to the packaging. So it gives a very good trust to the brand owners that, okay, whatever they are getting is with the least possible human touches. That plays a very important role. And second, as I'm again repeating my point, that consumer is become very, 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 protective for what he's getting and how he will be getting it delivered. And now we see that brand owners, they also only want to sell something which is more temper evident, temper proof, especially when it is related to pharma, it is related to the food packaging. And as you correctly said, the reusability point of view. See, on our type of thin wall container that we specialize, everything is reusable. The customer doesn't throw the container. It is being reused by them at different stages. Somebody is using it for storage, somebody is using it as a tiffin box, somebody is using it for any kind of storage. So it gives a lot of recall to the product, wherein you spend a lot of energy, a lot of investment on the advertisements. So these boxes, they behave like a poster. They behave like your own salesman, which helps you to bring in more sales. And consumer keeps remembering your product. So plays a very important role. Or other than this, what we are seeing after the post-COVID, that every consumer wants to see what is more premium. Every brand owner wants to sell what looks more premium. Even the smaller brands, they also want to look very, very premium. So our in-mold label packaging is helping almost all the brand owners to make their packaging more premium, to make it more the feel and the look of the packaging is very steady. So all this is helping a lot of brand owners and consumers. And other than this, what we see, as some of our brand owners were telling, that people are doing a lot of immunity boosters products. Yes, that is true. We can see that a lot of people are in the industry are selling a lot of immunity boost products, wherein they are unable to do a lot of advertisement on them because of the present situation. So again, the packaging is playing an important role, because the moment consumer buys it, he keeps the container or the box on his shelf, even after reusing it, even after using the product. So again, it gives a very good recall thing to the mind of the consumer. So, but again, like to repeat, it's all so the feedback of consumers and all the brand owners. So, Sushant, thank you, and back to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thanks for nicely summarizing the conversation, starting from where Ritika started off, and the conversation around consumer preferences, and then the packaging, and sort of converging the conversation in that sense. So thank you so much, Puneet, for that. Let's just take a minute here and also hear from our participants. What do they think? So let's bring up a online poll, and we will be keen to hear your thoughts, all the participants. So the question that we have for you is, which technology do you see is the future in label printing? Now, is this digital? Is it Flexo? Let's hear the thoughts from all the participants who are out there today. And while you're doing that, I will suggest for any Q&A, please put that in the Q&A box. Some of the questions are being answered live as well, and the other ones we will take after the session. Great. So yeah, so I think 3/4 believe it's going to be digital as the future, and I think the panelists also agree from whatever I have heard so far. And this is the future. And of course, we will see many more innovations coming on from the label perspective as we move forward. Now, while you heard a lot of themes around what is important, what are the key trends, what is happening from a technology and a service provider perspective, so you heard all of these ideas. We thought it is also useful to actually go and do a deep dive on 1 or 2 case studies, right, and see what is actually happening, where all these thoughts and concepts that we have heard so far actually take shape and have been realized, and there is a tangible outcome that has been achieved through that. So to that effect, let me now request Jikul to share his case study from one of the projects that he was working on. Over to you, Jikul.
Yeah. So thanks, Sushant, and the fellow panel, which I want to talk about, or in the case study, is called as Love, Beauty, and Planet. And I'm sure some of you might have seen it, or some of you might have used those products. And it's a personal care brand from Unilever. We have various products under this brand, and the whole brand talks about how we are trying to give you a product which it's about a beauty which is there for everyone, and it's also caring about the planet. Yeah. And just to kind of show you, this is the bottle of a Love, Beauty, and Planet. And again, very, very important part, and what I was talking a little bit before during my talk is that how different features are being integrated. Yeah. So first thing, this label is digitally printed. It's printed in a hybrid press, wherein you have a digital and then you have a finishing stages of a screen and a gravure. So it has a fantastic print, a very good tactile finish on top, yet it is digitally printed, so that the overall wastage and overall the carbon footprint is lowest. The second thing is, this is bottle which is made with 100% polyester, made with, previously somebody has drunk a Coke or a Pepsi or a water, and that is collect, and the plastic is made to use this bottle. So that's where the label needs to after use this bottle and it goes into the recycling stream, it is not detrimental there. So that's where we are using one of the every denizen substrate called as clean flake technology, wherein when it goes for the washing in recycling, the label slowly peels off. Yeah, again, PET bottle and a PP label. So that's where also in a floating tank, the label will float, and that's where we will be able to remove the complete label part of it, and hence it will not impact the recycling stream, and we will be able to get a very clean material which can again be used to make a new bottle. So that's how we are doing our bit in space of sustainability by choosing the right material and by using the 4R design principles across our packaging. Yeah, and this is something which I really wanted to share. And it's a fantastic brand, a fantastic product. It's a range of a vegan product and a very good perfume. So I would urge everyone to go online and try some of this Love Beauty and Planet shower gel and shampoos. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Jikul. Thanks a ton for sharing that case study. It's nothing like driving a point home, but with a case study which has been done, and in this particular case, you had the package to show us. So that's very impressive. Let me take thoughts now from Gagandeep. There are a lot of innovations that have been done at your end as well. Would you like to share your thoughts with the audience?
Yeah, so I think, this to bring alive the whole point on how we increase the consumer engagement and the whole believability factor. One of the key challenges for brands is to make sure that whatever proposition we are bringing to the consumer, we need to make them believe in it. Yeah, to be able to have that confidence that yes, it is indeed whatever it is promising, it is indeed being able to deliver that. So I think the label design plays a very important role in terms of how we can exploit the whole believability factor and bring in the consumer confidence in terms of the product itself. I would just like to show this example of, this is one of our flagship brands, Purifying Neem Face Wash. And this became a huge market leader about 10 to 12 years back, and it has retained its numero position. Now, if you look at the design of this label, what it really does, it makes sure that the whole proposition of the product is magnified so much that you can actually believe that this is actually a neem product. So there is a transparent and opaque combination used. The whole design is made in a manner where the entire product proposition stands out very clearly. So it's all about exploiting the whole design space in such a manner that you are able to really show the product, at the same time make sure that the consumers have a very strong belief in what you're trying to sell. And there has to be a very strong connect that the consumer has with the product itself. So the whole pack actually really stands out as a neem being the central proposition in this pack. And it has been a brand which has moved constantly forward, and over the years it has only gained share, and it is today clearly the market leader. But more importantly, it is just giving an example of how you can exploit the whole design and the entire space around design, constructing that label to be able to really show the product proposition. So to that, I just wanted to bring that point on how we can improve the consumer believability and the engagement by using design as a tool.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I've always been a fan of Himalaya in that sense since the time we launched. Because the way it comes across, it's very authentic. I mean, it sort of exudes that authenticity, trustworthiness, and at the same time that focus on quality when you look at that design. So absolutely, I think that's absolutely bang on. Those two case studies actually bring home what all you can do with packaging and labeling. So it is not something that is yet another line item in the overall production process, but this is something which is the new frontier and often under-exploited, under-invested by organizations when they are trying to talk to their customers. Now with that, it's time for the next online poll. We're just going to take a quick view from our participants here. So can you bring up the next question, please? Yes, so this is the question on the screen. What are the next innovations which will trend with customers? So is it label touch and finish, smart and interactive labels, authenticity and traceability, or augmented reality? What's the view from the panel participants here? Let's give it a minute. All right. So, it's interesting. So, while it's a digital world, but I think the core premises still go strong. Right? Authenticity, traceability is amongst one of the largest one which is called. And then you have smart and interactive labels and extended labels, for example, virtual reality, extended information around the label which came out in the front. So thank you so much, our participants, for sharing your thoughts. Now we will be going on to the question and answers. I'm just sort of going through the Q&A tab, and let me sort of combine some of the questions because the themes are similar. So the first question, and I'll probably direct that towards Ritika. There are a couple of questions around online purchasing and offline to online models which are happening. The question which are coming through is that in that transition, which was the point number 3 that you mentioned earlier, what does that mean for package and label design? I see questions here saying what is important during the package design stage. Somebody else is asking about layers of packaging on the primary, secondary, and tertiary. I think the broad themes are around what does that mean for packaging and labeling as this trend is gaining traction.
Okay, so like to elaborate a bit on this, so like as you know, like I gave my personal experience example, like that how I landed up wiping up that particular batch coding. So being professional, I think like we need to give more emphasis on the functional front now. So maybe like if we are using some food products and which is being sanitized, so like we have to make sure that like we make some kind of extra barrier coating on our packaging material so that even like the packaging is being sanitized, so it's not like making any adverse effect on our product. So like that particular thing we have to take care of. And as I told you, like since all the products are being now published only in the website and catalog, so like the more those vibrant colors and graphics are no much of importance. So more focus has to be on the the functional front. So maybe like we have to see like how to take care of the transit hazards, like which our product can go through during the extra leg of the transportation, because like we would be selling our products on the online platform, like through Amazons and this thing. So like that point I just want to make sure.
Thank you, Ritika. Any of the panelists who wants to add to that, your perspective on this?
So Sushant, hi, Jikul here. Maybe I just would like to highlight, one point, which is, previously in a conventional trade, there used to be a lot of interaction wherein consumer used to touch, they used to feel, they used to interact with your packaging and a product. which now in a new ways of working, which is going to be more e-com and more online, is going to be reduced. Yeah, first moment of truths are going to be the digital images on your screen, which you browse, while you are ordering. And that's where I think in future, and that's where, in the answer also we saw that authenticity and, traceability is something, which is coming out as one key or one big area, from consumer and from everyone's point of view. So I think, yeah, that certainly, is going to be important. And second thing is, like, Gagan mentioned, saying that, how do we interact with consumer in that space then, so once they get it, how do you interact? So how do you use some of the latest technique like AI or AR, and then, how do you make it a smart label so that you can still interact with consumer? And though the initial part of interaction, which earlier used to happen in modern trade shelf, has reduced, but still, you are able to get that space and that time from a consumer. And I'm sure some of us might have already seen that, Amazon has started uh, printing, on their boxes for a brand, and that, the story about that person and that thing. So like that, different brands and I think can also look, saying that on secondary packaging side, what can label add or what can label contribute there itself. Yeah. So that's 2 points from my side. Yeah.
Thank you.
And one
Uh,
thing I would like to add here, like, we also can have kind of, self-administrating labels. So earlier, like, we used to go to doctors, and doctor used to administer us, like, how to take this particular medicine, how to, like, apply this. But, like, if we have label which is, like, self-demonstrating, where, like, we have all the like, graphics and, like, mode of administration very well written on that and very well demonstrated. So I think, that can also help us to, like, show whatever we want to talk through our packaging.
Sushant, last quick comment from me on the last poll. See, the only point I wanted to bring out was, you see, the largest two components were authenticity and smart labels. Now, keep in mind, both of them require each label to be digitized uniquely, putting a unique QR code. And actually, there is a huge overlap on both of them. That means actually the market is moving towards each label being made unique. And then the same code can be used for authenticity or for traceability or for interactivity with the customer. So it's the same. Actually, that means 80% of the market is moving to a label having a unique QR code or a mark, a unique QR code or a mark on it, which is the trend going forward, and all of us should agree. Yeah.
Absolutely. I can see a next set of questions, and I think I will ask this question, and I'll request maybe Jikul to answer from brand owner's perspective, and maybe, Puneet, if you want to take a stab at it from the ecosystem perspective. I think what people are asking is that, we hear a lot about sustainability, and the panel also spoke about it. What I think the participants are sort of highlighting is that there seems to be a disconnect between where we want to be and where we are, right? In terms of actual economics on ground, for example, as simple as that, or the mechanisms on ground. Saying, I saw a message somewhere saying, that mechanism to collect and recycle doesn't exist in some parts, and so on. So, what are your thoughts in this apparent disconnect? And first of all, is there a disconnect? And if yes, then how can we fix it? The brand owner's view and from the ecosystem view, and then, request others to add as well after that. Sure.
Yeah. So thanks. And it's a very valid question, not only from a brand owner's perspective, but myself being a consumer and myself being a parent, this is one concern, saying that, we want to leave this world with minimum traces, and, we don't want to, we actually, inherit the world, that's a belief. Yeah. But it is not that. It is actually that we are borrowing it from our future generation, and that is where we need to give them, it as clean and as good as possible. And some of the comment or some of the reflections are true, that, we are not perfect. Yeah. The country is still, moving towards a full circularity, and having the best of the infrastructure and a collection system. Yeah, very recently there is an EPR framework which was kind of published and is under the industry consultation. So there are things which are kind of moving in last few years. I'm sure all of us have seen that a decade back we never used to segregate our waste. Yeah, everything used to go in one bin, but now there are at least two bins, a dry waste and a wet waste, and the waste is segregated. Now this dry waste goes to the recycling or intermediate station, wherein it is kind of recycled. So the PET bottle, and many of us will be surprised to know that India is one of the highest recycler of PET. Our recycling rates are as per industry and government is in the tune of excess of 90% versus some of the developed economies also not in that space, and that's where the key lies. So if there is a value, and if we are able to interact and tell consumers, look, this is the right thing to do, the government and the industry work together to set up the right infrastructure, and then it's happening, and then we will see the miracle happening. And I'm sure in last one decade we have seen many progress, and in next decade it will be at an exponential pace, and this pace is something which is going to keep growing, and it is all of us individual responsibility also to kind of keep doing our bit in this space as an packaging professional, as a individual consumers, and as a responsible citizens. Yeah, so that is my perspective, Sushant.
Sure, thank you.
So I just want to add to what Jikul said, and he rightly articulated as well. So specifically, a decade back and today's scenario, there is a paradigm shift, we can say, in Indian context, as well as about the awareness about the plastic recycling, the framework which industry is trying to build up. And what I can say, it's a collaborative effort from all the partners in the value chain. We should come together and contribute for a better and greener environment.
Thank you. Now taking view from the ecosystem. So maybe Puneet, you want to go first, and maybe Ranesh, if you want to add to that as well. I mean, this disconnect is, I mean, this is what multiple questions around that. I'm just sort of summarizing it, saying, yeah, sustainability is important, but what I hear, I mean, what people seem to be saying is we somewhere seem to have economics also playing a role there. So, Puneet, your thoughts, and Ranesh. Yeah.
Puneet, you want to go first? Yeah.
Or maybe Ranesh, if you can start, I think.
So, very interesting point on the economic points. And I saw just now a question from Amit Banga from SB Packaging, which is relevant. That a lot of time brands then have this issue that, that extra 2 paisa that you have to pay to move from, material A to material B is going to be a challenge. And that's where that I was saying that the brand, you all need to be responsible to say, I'm not even saying not only move to a sustainable material, but even to the consumer, offer him that extra 1 or 2 paisa or whatever, to make sure that the packaging gets recycled. This is coming globally in developed markets like Europe and all. You already see it. So Jikul, in Germany, I was fined 100 euros at that time for putting a glass bottle into a plastic pack into the rented apartment where I was living. So it's been 14 years that we have to actually be. I now currently live in the UAE, and here we use the maximum number of plastic bags. And the issue is about recycling plastic bags. We just did a project with Carrefour as a retailer here, and we took away 10,000 tons of plastic only by pushing reusable bags. But then again, the issue was make the consumer the central point of focus and give him the incentive. And whatever we may say about the Indian consumer being, value driven or whatever, the new millennials, they will buy reuse, they will buy sustainable packaging, they will go the extra mile to pay the extra money to get that. We just have to convince ourselves that it is there to stay. Yeah.
Yeah, so sorry, I think there was some problem. So what I would like to add here is that I think now the time has come wherein we have to educate consumers that anything which is not for food packaging can be made by the recycling packaging. For example, I take example of cosmetics, which I see is not food grade, but even if we use the products made by the recycled packagings, which can be very well accepted by the consumers, but somebody has to educate them that, okay, whatever is not for your direct consumption, we can use, it can be made by the recycled plastics as well. I have seen some of the examples globally wherein now the cosmetics or some other products wherein it is not going to go inside, I mean, you're not going to consume it. You can very well make them by a recycled plastic. Yeah, I agree on this. So I don't have a sample at present to show you. Okay, I will share that later on with you. That there are now packs which even where we emboss that they are made with recycled packaging. So we have gathered some of them. So I think it's going to be a very useful packaging now in the post-COVID time, especially. Yeah.
But Puneet and Jikul, just to bring out that as of today, food grade recycled PET is more expensive than virgin PET. Then the brand have to take the call and stay with it, right?
That's
Ranesh,
right.
I think it's a very valid point. But again, just want to add here is that, so there are brands which are conscious and which are responsible. So like, at Unilever, at least we were very clear, we transitioned from PVC to, non-PVC based shrink sleeve a while ago. And all of us know that, compared to PVC, the non-PVC, which is PET or a PS based shrink sleeves are more expensive. But, that was again a policy decision which was taken by looking at the, long-term impact and on the environment. Yeah. Similarly in India, so all our Vim liquid bottles, we are using 50% PCR already into it. It's a PET PCR based bottle. Yeah. A Tresemme or a Sunsil, if you take, if we are using 25% PCR there. Liquid laundry. So Surf Excel bottle, if you are buying, be rest assured that that bottle has got a 25% PCR content, already into it. And this we started, almost a year back. We were pioneer in the industry to kind of start this. So yes, there is an on cost. We do understand that, it is there, but we at the same time are willing to own our responsibility and try to do, our bit. Again, these are all baby steps. So if somebody asks today, we are probably, at say 15 to 20%, and the journey ahead is longer, but at least we are conscious, and we are, as an industry also, I think many companies have started taking those steps, and I'm sure in time to come we will the whole vision that our future generation will have a better life than ours will be fulfilled. Yeah.
Lovely. So sorry, I'll try to interject the flow of the conversation, but we are almost upon our time. It was very engaging conversation. We have some more questions, but possibly they could be taken separately. I would just like to summarize just a couple of minutes on what we heard today. So from the brand owners, what we heard is that let's look at this disruption as an opportunity. Let's look at what we can do to create more ideas and opportunities for us and for our customers. And our customers are much evolved than what we think they are right now. And you develop propositions which are now straddling the offline and the online world. So you have to look at both of them. It cannot be either. We went ahead and we looked at saying just the label doesn't serve the original view of the label, saying okay, just from that on the spot purchase or relativeness and all of that. It is now also acting as the next big frontier to the customer, and therefore the aspects around augmented reality, embedded information, and so on has also become very, very important. And the other relevant thing which came out is the entire theme around building trust and communicating that trust to the customer. We moved on to bring down the aspects around 4 R's of sustainability. Very well put, Jikul, and probably I'm going to use that with your permission in some other conversations. And they were recyclability, recycled content, responsibility. So there are all aspects which are closely hitting home. And when we moved on to the service providers, we said that the industry is coming up. The service providers or technology partners, they are very, very agile. I saw some case studies being shared, like Denver mentioned about very quickly we turned around things, made things happen, or as Puneet mentioned. So from the ecosystem perspective, ecosystem is fully geared to the demands that they see in from the brand owner's perspective. Of course, there are some things that are still, as they say, still under progress. So for example, the entire themes around the balancing act that you need to do between sustainability and economics, the balancing act that you need to do between time to market and you need to look at the cost and the other aspects around it. So all that is fair, but from the ecosystem perspective, from the brand owner's perspective, and also what we saw from participants based on the polls, is that there is a very clear view. The future is digital. The future is digitally enabled and engaging. Second, the future is around trust and engagement with your customers. So that's the primary axis on which we all have to work on. And third, the future is sustainable. So these are three key takeaways that I have from today's conversation. Very engaging, and I was making curious notes, as you can see. And it was really an honor to be on this panel with you. Back to you, Prateek. Thank you.
Thank you, Sushant, for moderating this session wonderfully, and also sharing and summarizing the final perspective and the KPMG perspective as well. The participants, before we let you go, it's important that we have your valuable feedback. I am just sharing a link in the chat box. I'll request everybody to kind of give us the feedbacks and help us kind of improve the next time we connect with you. And I'll request everybody to take some time out and it's a short survey. So please click onto this link and just give us your valuable feedback. It's been a well attended and engaging session. I'm sure the speakers today have been able to share the insights and those insights I think would help you look at product labels differently, the way you're going to use it, the way you're going to dispose it. And we also thank our sponsors for the day. So we have HP and CAP Group. It's a sincere thanks to them for supporting this industry initiative and helping us conduct this webinar in the way we've been able to do. A big thank you to all our panelists, our experts from the industry. We understand the time that you've taken out from your important schedules. So thank you, panelists. And most importantly, our delegates who've attended this session and have kept it engaging with the kind of questions and the poll questions that they have been attending to. So thank you all. Thank you all for joining the Packaging Live platform. We'll be planning our next webinar on the 24th of August, about a month from now. And we'll share all the details in due course. So stay connected, stay safe, and see you again on another Packaging Live webinar. Thank you all.
Thank you.
So much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thanks.
Everyone.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Okay, Prateek ji. Thank you.
Right, Puneet, thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.